welcome to today's Inspired Young Latina podcast and video series. With our book coming up this December 12th, we really wanted to open a platform where you guys can meet the authors of the book, the first ever volume of today's Inspired Young Latina. My name is Samantha Ante, and today we'll be showing you the story of Gina, one of the authors as well. And for the people that don't know, today's Inspired Young Latina came about because of the Young Latina Talks. And then Jackie gave us the opportunity to put our stories in our book, Jackie and other individuals that are involved in the making of the book. And today's Inspired Latina is a book series of inspiration and hope, a poignant collection of personal stories that will activate your passion. These are success stories that need to be told to motivate our community and generations to come. By overcoming language barriers, self-doubts, and other obstacles in the way, these strong Latinas are a great example of how inspiration and perseverance can lead you to happiness and success in business and in life. It's a positive, empowering read for anyone sitting on a dream and thinking it won't come true. Today's Inspired Latina and now today's Inspired Young Latina shows you that it can be possible. And we are ready to lift up our voices and set the example for the upcoming generations. We need to empower them and remind them that they are more capable than they think. And like I said today, I'm with Gina. ¿Cómo estás, Gina? How are you?
Good. How are you?
Perfect. I'm super excited to get to know you even more. I know that we have been really close due to Young Latina Talks, but this is a really little bit different.
Yeah.
So we're going to be doing it through video and a podcast. So I'm excited so people get to know your story more. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Gina.
What can I say? I feel like I'm not such an interesting person, but I hope with the story, obviously it changes something, some way, somehow. But just a little bit about myself. So I am a first generation student, or not student anymore, but college grad now.
Yeah.
Both of my parents were born in Mexico. My mom's from Michoacan, and my dad's from the Mexico City. And they both came, and then I grew up. My hometown is West Chicago, Illinois.
Okay.
And then we moved throughout different places, but now I currently live in Montgomery. And then I went to school, and I wanted to become a nurse, and luckily I graduated last 2018 of May at Aurora University with a Bachelor's of Science in Nursing and a minor in psychology, and now I've been working as a nurse for almost 2 years now. So it's been a ride because this journey has not been easy, and
of course,
like you were saying, like a lot of the girls that we have met, including your story, like we've all been through just so many obstacles along the way, but obviously we don't want to get too much information because we want you to read the book.
Yeah, we want you to read the book.
But I think it's been such a beautiful road, and I'm just so excited with this. I didn't honestly think that something so small, or like what Jackie has said, like, just a small seed was going to sprout into such a big thing. So
of course.
Here we are now.
Yeah, and tell us, how did you hear about Young Latina Talks, and what inspired you to be part of this movement?
So just to make a long story short, I met Jackie through the Fake Factor Foundation, which is a foundation. She helps. Yes, right.
Yes, I just
congratulations.
graduated. I love
it. It was wonderful. Yeah.
Yes.
So it gives such an inspiration for you to keep going, and and I think the time I did it was before I started nursing school, which was kind of like giving me the drive to do it before all the challenges and the stress. And along the way, after all that happened, I was ready to go with Jackie to launch her 6th volume of the Today's Inspired Latina Europe edition.
Wow.
And before she went, she had met with me, and I met with Gabby as well, Gabby Hernandez, who is also going to be part of the book as well. She had mentioned how they were doing this event for Young Latina Talks, and I was like, what is that? I'm like, it sounds like a TED Talk, and pretty much that's what it was.
That's what it was.
But obviously it was just based on young Latinas like us, just trying to share any message really to say like what you want to share to the world. And well, to me, I think my position, I wanted to share that I was very self-reserved, so quiet, so timid, and I honestly think, like, if I was still the person now, like so many years ago, this to me would just be so scary. I probably would have run out
wow.
the door. So, yeah, so that's pretty much how I met her. She just kind of invited me, signed in, and I did it. And it was such a wonderful
Now you seem so
feeling.
outgoing, and that's
so
amazing.
golden moment.
Well, sometimes we go out of our comfort zone and then we realize that it's not as hard as we thought.
Yeah, definitely.
And then you just go with the flow.
Yeah.
But that's amazing. I'm really proud of you.
Thank you.
And tell me, how beneficial was for you to find this platform to lift your voice and spread that message that you wanted to say?
Well, I guess it was important to me because at first I was like, well, what am I going to get out of it, you know? And I think a lot of the times when people, like, do anything, you know, they want to see, like, the benefit. They probably hope in return to get maybe something physical in return, maybe just, like, money or something, or, like, I don't know, certification or whatnot. But to me, I saw it as an opportunity just for self-growth.
Of course.
Which I've learned along the way that, you know, everything that you do, even just small classes that you take, like just for inspiration, and that is kind of like a compound where you are able to inspire other people. So I learned that when I was in church, you know, contributing to society also just gives you back just a lot of blessings,
joy,
and happiness. And I saw that in this movement, and then in Young Latina Talks, and obviously now in this book, I hope that it's able to inspire other young Latinas like us.
Yes, so. And that's the benefit of it. When you inspire others, that's like a whole package. That's really, really fulfilling. Yeah. And what does it mean to you to be a young Latina in this world?
To be a young Latina, first of all, I love being Latina. It's such a blessing. I mean, like,
preach.
Yeah, for all Latina women out there, you know, you guys rock.
Yes.
But I think being a young Latina in this generation has its hardships, but it has its strengths. And I think our strengths definitely show, like, that we do not settle for anything. Mm-mm. Like, if you want something, you go get it. And I've seen it a lot, and just a lot of, you know, just role models, and my parents' story and my mom's story, and a lot of women as well. So I think, and even Jackie and a lot of the today's Inspired Young Latina authors, like we've seen it
they're
before.
so inspiring, all of
them.
them.
So I hope that with their stories, and now our generation as Young Latinas, we're able to maybe even, like, work just as hard as they did, and see what things we can accomplish, because honestly, like, here we are becoming authors sooner.
Yes.
So that's what I think it is.
Exactly, and I feel like that's the power of storytelling, because when you see how somebody was able to overcome some circumstances, and you see yourself and you're like, okay, I'm also Latina, I can do this, right? So definitely. It gives you, like, the representation, and we're gonna talk about representation in a little bit, because that's a really huge topic. Well, in a few days, in a week we will be becoming published authors. Oh, did you ever think that you were going to become a book author one day?
No. No, really, I didn't. This is just so unexpected, and I'm pretty sure for you.
Of course, for me too. I've always dreamed of it, but I never really actually thought that was going to happen. So what does it mean to you to be able to have your story captured on paper?
Oh, man. I really don't know. I'm going to be honest with you. I think once I read that, just like when I reread the story before sending it to the editor, and when she finalized it, reading it, I was like, oh my gosh, like, I felt like I was reading someone else's story. I'm going to be honest with you.
Wow.
Because I was like just in awe that this is my life that I went through so far, you know, and I still have, you know, for however long we last in this world.
Of course.
Like, what else I'm able to accomplish, and if this is how far we've gotten at this point in our age, like, you know, we have so much more possibilities.
The sky's the limit.
Yeah, exactly. So
that's amazing. Yeah, to me it was kind of like a closure of all the journey. It's like kind of like a closure, and then you move forward to the next step, right? So it feels amazing.
Definitely.
Yeah, and hoping that we can motivate others. Yeah.
Definitely.
So share with us some of your future goals, and how do you plan to make them happen?
So some of my future goals, I have just quite a few on the list, but one big one that I want to do is I want to become a nursing educator.
Oh my God!
So yes, I do want to go back for my master's. And I want to also be able to get a certification as a rehabilitation nurse. I work at a rehab hospital currently, and so now that I'm taking the time and motivation to just specialize in this field, I want to be able to get certified in it. And then after that, I'll go back for my master's and then just become a nursing educator. And I want to be a simulation lab instructor, which it's like where you do hands-on skills for students. So you use like the mannequin and you perform all like
CPR.
Like CPR, yeah, different like skills as a nurse, like what they need to do before they go into the real world. So
wow, that's amazing. See, you're gonna be the representation that our Latina nurses need.
Yes,
because that's how it is. If you don't see it, you make it. You know, you are yourself the representation. That's amazing. Well, thank you so much, Gina, for sharing this experience with us today. But before we leave, what consejo, what advice will you give other young Latinas that are listening to us?
I would say that one big consejo that I would give to any young Latina is to just let go. Pretty much what I told myself is to let go and just see your full potential. Don't be afraid. You know, you have a lot more to give to the world. If you don't know in the moment, that's okay. Time will tell. You know, sometimes it takes days and maybe even years to figure it out, but that's okay. And it's never too late. You know, just try to do something that is out of the ordinary, and maybe that in that situation you'll figure it out. So.
Yes, that's perfect. And well, thank you so much for listening to our stories. We're going to keep posting each author's story as well in the podcast and video series. We invite you to read our book, and if you're able to come to the book launch on December 12th, that will be amazing. And you can also write your story so that you are able to get motivated. Because like Gina said, when you read it, then you look back to everything you've been through, and that inspires you to keep going. So we are authors, but that doesn't mean that your story is not, it doesn't matter, because everybody's story is important. So thank you so much for listening to us, and we really hope to see you really soon.